Welcome to Scorpio Soul Time. This is my esoteric journey where I am consistently learning progress over perfection. Today we are going to learn all about tarot. And I fell in love with tarot cards probably a good 6-7 years ago when I had a friend show me her deck. And I was mystified from the first time that I ever saw them. And so I started learning more about them. And so I would like to share that with you today. Tarot cards date back to the 15th century, back in Italy, where they are believed to have been used as playing cards. In present day, we use them for several things. We can use them for increased self-awareness, enhanced creativity, better honing into your intuition, and to also help empower others to find their spiritual path. So what I've noticed with using tarot cards is that many people think that it's fortune telling, and I guess if you look at it in a certain way, it could be that, but I look at it more as tuning into the spirits as well as the energies that are going on in your everyday world to seek messages to questions that you may have. So today we're going to learn about the Major Arcana part of the deck. And the Major Arcana this one is going to be based off of the Rider-Waite Tarot deck. Several different tarot deck versions are in circulation, but this is one of the most popular ones, and this is the one that I like. It's comprised of 22 cards depicting major shifts of energy. So they go all the way from 0 all the way to 21. And the other part of the deck is the Minor Arcana, and those are 56 cards, and they denote day-to-day events. So what I'm going to do today is, if you're a beginner to tarot, this is a great video for you to refer back to, because I'm going to go card by card and explain to you what each card means, what its ruling planet or astrological sign is, and this will help you in your readings to be able to understand the tarot and also be able to do it for yourself or to do it with friends. So let's start off with the Fool. And I'm just going to keep the next card there so you can see what are the cards coming and then what is the first card that we're talking about. So the tarot deck refers to the Fool's journey. And this is the first card called the Fool. I'll try to line it up for you if I can. So you can see the Fool is a man dressed in his cute little outfit, but I love how he's like carefree, go lucky, doesn't have anything to worry about. So it is actually the only card in the deck that has a 0, or it doesn't have a Roman numeral. It's just depicted by the 0. And this is looked at as the beginning of the tarot deck, but it can also be looked at as the end of the deck. So the entire deck is referring to the Fool's journey. And he is representative of purity, innocence, and it's the first step to get things started. So if you find this in your reading in a deck, this usually depicts you are getting ready to start something new, new beginnings are upon you, and you are ready for the journey. And you can also see in this card, which I always find interesting, is that this little dog right here wants to tell him that he's going to step off of this ledge. But you know what? He doesn't care. He has a flower in his hand. He has his little hobo bag. It's a sunny day. He is ready for anything. So just know that when this shows up in your reading, this could mean that you're going to start something new, or maybe new influences are going to come into your life. So the next card is the Magician card. And you can see here, it is depicted by Roman numeral 1, and its ruling planet is Mercury. He gets his powers from outside of himself. He gets them from the universe, and he has the different tools to help him. He has the pentacle, the sword, the cup, and the wand. You should tap into your own potential and not hold back. Now is the right time to act. So if you get this card in the reading, you have all the control that you need. This is the Magician. The next card is the High Priestess, number 2, and she's represented by the Moon. Inner conscious, intuitive mind is important with her. Trust your gut feelings. She is the source of the power that the magician taps into. Dig deeper in your mind. She's telling you to listen to your answers within. She also could signify you're not listening to the side of yourself that you don't like, your negative side. So think of that with the High Priestess. So this is going to be very helpful in a reading. If this card comes up, this means you need to trust your gut feeling. Next is number 3, the Empress. The Empress is ruled by Venus. She represents the physical body and the material world. Her primary power is to create and manifest things in the world. You can see she's sitting here with her dress, and she is pregnant, and her pregnant body signifies birth in the physical and metaphorical terms. So this can be birth to new ideas. It could be something new that you've been thinking about. It can be a business idea, or it could just actually mean birth of someone coming into the world, birth of a baby. Motherly love is what is denoted by the Empress. Next is number 4, the Emperor. The Emperor is related to Aries, the ram. He is our archetypal father. He's created order out of chaos, and he can represent power and strict rules. He usually indicates that whatever you're looking for or whatever you're looking to do, you need to have confidence, assertiveness, and be ready for anything. This could be you in the reading, or it could just be the theme of a fatherly figure is coming into your world with some important information. It just kind of depends on what is the question at hand when you're asking the tarot cards. And one thing I want to mention with tarot reading is that you can ask a question that relates to yourself. You can relate to a situation that you're in. It can relate to different things. So don't think that it just has to be about one specific person. Next is 5, the Hierophant, also called the High Priest or the Pope in other decks. And it is represented by Taurus, the Bull. This is a card of beliefs. Institutions, groups of people, teachers, you may or may not want to conform to the collective or beliefs with this card. So this could be anything from the government. If this is you maybe asked a question about whether, let's just say you just did your taxes and you're trying to figure out, am I going to be able to finish my taxes in time, or am I going to have all the information I need? Will I seek, get the answers I need in the timely manner? This could signify anything from the government to entities like teachers, just anyone that is of authorities or groups of people that are all kind of conform to a singular belief. I like this card when it comes up because oftentimes it also represents institutions that you believe have authority, but maybe they don't have as much authority as you thought. So for example, if you're selling your home and you're waiting to hear back on some, whether you are approved for a loan or those type of things. So it could lead to banks or any kind of institution. So that is what the Hierophant stands for. Next is card 6, the Lovers. The Lovers is led by Gemini, the twins, and you would assume it speaks to love and sexuality. Now it can speak to that, but it could also mean your emotions or the emotions of others around you, such as family or friends or anyone close that you want to have great relationships with. So while it could mean that, you might meet someone or someone might be eyeing you or you're eyeing someone else in terms of a relationship, but it could also be, you just found out that you're going to join a certain class and you're going to have little groups of friends that you all later become, best buddies. Relationships can come from happy partnerships, but it can also mean that if it's in a reverse position, which we'll talk about in other videos, it could mean that it's time for a breakup, or it could mean that it's time to remove yourself from certain relationships. We all know that all relationships aren't always positive. So this can also relate to you and another person needing to part ways. Card 7, the Chariot, is represented by Cancer, the crab. And this represents power of the mind, and it is believed to represent a battle that can be won by control and willpower. But without proper control of your emotions, life can run amok, and the Chariot suggests to look at where you need to gain more control, or you are over-controlling in another aspect of your life. Take control of your life through your emotions. That is what the Chariot is all about. And I also like how the Chariot looks like, I've got this. Like, I don't know what I need to do, but I'm going to take control of the situation. So I love that about the Chariot. And if you get that in a reading, it usually means you need to step up to the plate and figure out what you need to do. If it's in a reverse in a reading, oftentimes it means you are having, or you're feeling like you're having a lack of control, or you feel like, the horses are just kind of on their own. They're just like running away from you. So I think this is a great card. Next is 8, Strength, and it is represented by Leo, the lion. Through courage and patience, you can accomplish your goals of any magnitude. You need balance of both to rise above any challenge. So you can see the woman here, and she is actually taming the lion. You may be battling over different people, or you may have, this is more about in your own head and your own emotions. So it's not really so much about outwardly people, but more inside. If you are having problems kind of taming your emotions, you're needing to exercise patience. Maybe things aren't coming up as quickly as you would have liked in your life. Strength reminds us that you have to take balance. You can see the infinity sign over her head. We all need balance to be able to think through and exercise patience in anything that comes in our life. Not always the easiest to do, but I think the Strength card is needed by everyone, right? Next is 9, the Hermit. He is depicted by this older man that is holding a lantern to guide his way, and it's snowy mountain, and he's really going through like rough terrain, trying to like find his way. The Hermit is led by Virgo the Virgin. This card represents turning towards your inner voice for messages and removing the outer world to seek guidance. Allow true wisdom to come through your own inner voice, and then come back and be a guide to the outer world once you've received messages and guidance from within. So what I love about the Hermit is it's asking you to take some time to yourself. Some in other tarot decks, it represents this older man going into like the mountains, or into, basically into his own isolation, removing himself from the environment and anything around him, seeking the answers from within. But then once he is enlightened and he has gone into his own, he comes back, and that's what the lantern represents, is lighting the path, or teaching others what he has learned. So I really like the Hermit, because I think that in each of us, we all have a teaching quality. And I think that before we can teach, though, we have to go within to figure out what we need to learn ourselves. What things do we need work on? And before we want to teach anyone, we need to learn them ourselves. So that is what the Hermit represents. It's 10, the Wheel of Fortune. The Wheel of Fortune is represented by Jupiter, the planet. The forces of destiny and fate, and represents the cycle of life. You won't always be up, and you won't always be down. Changes are certainly going to happen, and it just depends on what part of your life change is going to occur. It can also denote an opportunity is at hand and changes are about to occur that you weren't even expecting. Accept any kind of changes, for they are inevitable, and this is just a part of life. So you can see on this card, and what I love also about the tarot are there's so many symbols. So these different characters are all denoting different things. All the symbology here is denoting other things. We won't get into all of that in this video, or this video would be probably like 3 hours long. But just know that the Wheel of Fortune is saying whatever you have asked in your reading, it's possible that things are getting ready to change for the better. Sometimes things change for the worse. But remember, just because things change does not mean they're bad. And just because things don't change doesn't mean it's good. So I try to always remember that in life, is that sometimes we need change, and the Wheel of Fortune is telling you that something is about to change in your life. The next card is Justice, Libra, the scales. This relates to laws of the universe or karma. Don't take sides in life without understanding that our life is a product of past actions and decisions you have made and can have an impact on your future. Take the attitude of a fair judge. Actions will come back on you, right or wrong. So when this card comes up in a reading, just remember that, the scales of justice can always be tipped one way or the other, right? And especially in life, karmic beginnings, endings, things coming back to you. If you have that belief that whatever you have done in the past, you will be either rewarded for or you will be punished for. Same type of concept with justice. And I think justice, they have a sword in this hand and the scales in another. So I think it's interesting that, you're either going to have the scales tipped in your favor or not. This all depends on how you have taken action or no action in past dealings. Next is 12, the Hangman. And the Hangman is represented by the planet Neptune. And if you want to move forward, you must stop struggling. It can also mean look at life or situations in a different way than you have before. Don't force change. It will come in divine timing. So you can see this man is hanging from, one leg is hanging from the branch, but he is enlightened. You can see the light around his head. He's actually enlightened when he's looking at things in a different way. So in a reading, if this card comes up, it could denote that, you might have to step back from the situation, give it a little time, look at things in a different way, maybe come up with different options. Or it could mean outside influences around you might change in a different way that you were never even anticipating. So that is what card 12 is, the Hangman. Number 13, the Death card, represented by Scorpio, the Scorpion. You shouldn't fret when you get the Death card. It doesn't mean a person is going to die in your life. It actually indicates the death of an old life and the birth of a new one. It is about transformation and change. It can signify a death of an attitude or lifestyle that no longer serves you. Be prepared to let go of something in your world. I love the Death card, not just because I'm a Scorpio, a sun and moon, and this is our card, the number 13 card. But what I love is that the Death card is, you see here this skeleton, and he is basically dressed in armor. But this flag that he's carrying, these are all pieces of corn and different things on his flag, basically saying, you know what? It's time to end something, and I'm bringing in the new harvest. And I just love the thought of transforming yourself. So if this comes up, if the Death card comes up in a reading, this is telling you you've already outgrown that phase. It is time to move on. Death of the old lifestyle that you thought of is over, and it's time to start anew. It's time to harvest in what you planted before, and a new crop, if you will, is about to be ushered in, but it will not unveil itself unless you let go of the old. So I like the Death card. It's a good card in a reading. The next card is 14, Temperance. Temperance is represented by Sagittarius, the Archer. This card represents reconstruction after the Death card. It relates to two different sides of yourself, or it could mean different people coming together to blend their energies. It can also be about strengthening the negative sides of your personality. As you know, perfect harmony and balance is the key to life, and that is what this card is telling you. You can see that she has these cups, and she's basically tempering. No different if you're a foodie and you know how you temper chocolate or you temper eggs so that they don't cook too fast, and you have to mix small pieces of, small batches of, when you're trying to do eggs and you don't want them to turn to scrambled eggs quickly, so you have to add them slowly to your cake batter or whatever. That's what I think of with the Temperance, is that basically these cups are denoting you have to take balance, but you also have to take patience, and you have to take, it's basically telling you that whatever situation you are in right now, you're going to have to be patient, you're going to have balance, and it's going to take a little give and take in order for you to get through whatever situation is at hand. Next is number 15, the Devil, which is represented by Capricorn, the goat. This relates to the negative aspect of one's personality. Everyone has this side, and to accept the reality is essential. The Devil represents yourself attacking from the inside, not just the outside. The Devil wants you to believe you don't have control over your life. That is not true. The Devil, you can see right here where the woman and man have these chains, but you see how loose the chains are? Those chains are self-inflicted, meaning they can get away if they wanted to, but the Devil is making you believe that you are chained, or that you are stuck, or that you are in a no-win situation. The Devil wants you to believe these things, but remember, you can switch your thoughts at any time to a more positive direction. The Devil doesn't want you to succeed, so this card denotes a way of thinking, a way of self-imposed restriction that is not really there, and that you are too into your head. When I get this card, I think of that Drake song, In My Feelings. I think I am too in my feelings. I'm too wrapped up in myself, and that's basically what the Devil denotes. Okay, the next card is the Tower, number 16. The Tower card is represented by Mars, and it relates to demolishing old beliefs and attitudes. A new structure can be built only when the old has been demolished. Let go of your old ways, or it will be taken from you without your consent. So you can see that these people, there's this building burning and these people are falling out. Looks pretty crazy, right? So all these people are falling out, and it's basically showing this tower is going to come down whether you want it to or not. So you better get out of there. And the Tower, when it comes up in your reading, it's basically saying burn the negative and outdated thoughts. Be clear that once this change occurs, you will see new ways and new opportunities present themselves. Don't fight the change. Change is inevitable. And I think that's kind of the mantra of all of life, right? If you resist change, if you resist trying to accept new things in life, you're just going to spend more of your time feeling badly about how things don't change. So this card is denoting it's time to burn the negative and outdated and step into the new of yourself. And remember, nothing new can be built until the old is demolished. So that really is what the Tower is telling you. All right. Okay, card 17, the Star. The Star is represented by Aquarius, who is the water bearer. And this is one of the luckiest beneficial cards of the entire deck. She denotes that she will light your way when you feel all is lost. This is a card of faith in a higher power than yourself, that you will be able to find the power not only from yourself, but with divine guidance. The star gives you inspiration that things will get better. You just have to have faith. Don't lose hope. And this card inspires you to look for solutions around you. And I like how on the star, she actually, similar to the Temperance card where there's the two pools of water, and one of them is her foot is in it, and the other one is almost like giving water to the land. So I think it's a great card to denote that you have all of the power and all of the energies that you need inside you. You just have to search for them. So I love the star card. Great one for Aquarius, and my rising sign is Aquarius. So I always think of these stars too. All the numbers of the stars and the big star, that all denotes some symbology as well. But anyone who knows about Aquarians, they always have a lot of intuition, but they're very forward thinking. They like to think outside the box, and they're always higher mindedness. So I think that the star card is always a great card to show up in your reading. The next card is 18, the moon, who is represented by Pisces, the fish. This card denotes that things aren't always what they seem. The cycle of the moon relates to the divine feminine, and in history of the tarot was related to the female menstrual cycle. In a reading, the moon could mean there's a hidden information or hidden aspects of a situation you didn't see coming. Or it could relate to parts of a situation that are being hidden from you, and you have to take the time to realize that all the information might not be clear. You might need to have a little patience. You might need to let time take its course before you really can make a firm decision. Similar to the moon at night, when you think of it, and you know, moonlight can cast, there's just like a little light. When it's a full moon, you know how it's really bright outside, but then as you start getting to the waxing moon, it starts getting darker, and when you're outside, you can only see certain things. That's exactly what the moon card denotes, is that, you know, you have to be vigilant, but you might not know all the facts. So keep moving forward, but just be aware that all the information might not be clear right now. And what I always think of when doing a reading is that if the moon card comes up in your reading, remember, you can do one today, you can do one in a few days, you can do one as the energies change and as the planets are in different aspects. These are the times to do the tarot readings, because you will see that the cards will change depending on what the energies are. So, you know, once you get the moon card, check back in a couple days. Maybe the energies would have aligned better for you in whatever question that you are asking. The next card is 19, the sun. The sun is one of the other most enjoyable and positive cards in the deck. And the sun obviously is related to the sun. It shows that in your life, all things are turning up better. It's more happy. It indicates success, triumph over bad, and happiness. It could mean material prosperity, but it could also just mean how you're feeling, how things are feeling not only more enlightened, you're seeing things clearer. This is obviously the next step after the moon. So the sun might appear in your reading to signify now you know the facts, and you might also realize that now more information has come out. For all you know, now that same situation that you were worried about, it could have already taken care of itself. It might not even be something that you're worried about anymore. So the sun denotes positivity, happiness, and joy are definitely on the way if it hasn't come already. Card 20 is Judgment, and its planet is Pluto. Similar to the Tower and the Death card, this is a card of transition. There's no destruction here, although. Instead, it is about transforming into your higher self through all of the past experiences you have been through, whether emotionally and spiritually. This denotes past experiences and now you coming into a transformative and enlightened state. In a reading, it means a major change is on the way. Whether you take it or not, it is up to you. Your past is in the past, and the future is up to you if you accept change. So like I've been saying throughout this video, is that change is inevitable. And this Judgment card is basically, these people are coming out of these are actually coffins, and you can see Angel, I think it's Angel Gabriel, is blowing his horn, and all the people are rising up, basically, ready to ascend to their next life, if you will. So this card comes towards the end of the Major Arcana, denoting, have you risen up to the transformation? Have you been able to go through your life, go through the situation, go through whatever you've been asking about in your reading? Have you been able to personally transform yourself in order to ascend to your higher self? And we've come to the last card of the deck, 21, the World, whose planet is Saturn. The four symbols, which are here, 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 and here, they stand for matter, energy, time, and space. These four symbols are all present in the world around us, and you have learned your lessons and are coming to an ending of a chapter in your life. Relax, because you will be taking on a new cycle soon. So that is the end of the Major Arcana. And so this World card basically is a celebratory card, if you will, because you have ended a cycle and you are ready to basically become the Fool again, right? And start your whole life over. So I think it's also interesting to see how the tarot does a great job of having you kind of go through all of these different major shifts in your world, in your situations, and just depending on where you think you need guidance, you need extra help, or if you're doing this reading for someone else, have them ask a question, and it can be in their head. It doesn't necessarily have to be out loud. Ask them to cut the deck, and then they ask a question, and when you pull these cards, you'll be able to help them with guidance for their reading. So thank you for joining me. This was the Major Arcana of the Rider-Waite Tarot deck. I'm excited to show you the other Minor Arcana decks in future videos. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. I would love if you subscribe, share with your friends, and I can't wait to see you next time on Scorpio Soul Time. Thanks. Bye-bye.